Hello young friends, I hope you did the English literature and language paper well, and tomorrow is the ICSE class 9 history and civics board examination. So I hope you are all well prepared. Here are some simple tips that you need to keep in mind before you go for the examination and through today when you are preparing for that big exam. Okay, not getting too much into the specifics. We have on the playlist the ICSE class 9 history playlist put out 2 chapters which deal with the Mughal history and also deal with the Delhi Sultanate. Please have a look at it in case it is of use to you to revise at this point in time. But broadly speaking, you cannot really afford to leave out any chapter because the history civics format in ICSE is such that you cannot afford to leave out any chapter because something may come in section A and something else may come in section B. So you cannot afford to take a risk and lose marks in the bargain. Number 2, let's look at the format of the paper itself. For those who are not very familiar, the paper is of 80 marks. Part 1 deals with 30 marks and part B deals with 50 marks. In part 1, you have 10 compulsory questions dealing with civics of 1 mark each and 10 questions dealing with history of 2 marks each. So it's 10 plus 20 equal to 30. That takes care of part 1, in which there is no choice at all. You have to attempt all the 20 questions in order to get 30 marks, right? And it is possible to get 80 on 80 in history civics. So don't be under the impression that history and civics you will actually lose marks. You can actually score a 100% in history civics. Part B deals with 2 questions out of 3 for civics and 3 out of 5 for history. So there is choice in part B, which is the longer format question and answer. Okay, so that accounts for 20 plus 30, that is 50 marks. So that is broadly the kind of pattern. Now, history and civics also you need to be very careful as far as your time management is concerned. काफी विद्यार्थियों के पेपर छूट जाते हैं क्योंकि वे टाइम पर अपना पेपर खत्म नहीं कर पाते हैं, काफी ज्यादा लिख लेते हैं और उसकी वजह से लास्ट क्वेश्चन अक्सर छूट जाता है. Some students are not able to manage their time well. As a result of which the last question they are usually not able to complete. Do not do that. Now what should be the rough pattern? Your 120 minutes, your part 1, assuming that you are starting the question paper with part 1, which I would suggest you should, the 10 questions of civics and the 10 questions of history should not take about more than 40 minutes. That should be maximum 40 minutes for those 30 marks question. Roughly, if you want to divide it further, you could say about 15 minutes for his civics and about 25 minutes for history. Okay, it should not take longer than that because civics in particular, you just need to write even one word. Even one word is actually okay. You don't even have to write the full sentence. You will get marks. So that's not really a problem at all as far as civics is concerned. In history, since it's a 2-mark question, in addition to writing the keywords, you also need to flesh it out. For those of you who have any doubts about what are keywords and how do you decide what is a keyword, please refer to the chapter on keywords that we have done. This is the thumbnail through which you can identify in the playlist on the Study with Sudhir channel. You can go and have a look at it. You will gain a lot of knowledge about how do you actually decide on what is a keyword. Keyword is essentially nothing but key point. But आप ये video देखिए, you will understand it better. And 40 minutes ये हो गया. Then you allot 15 minutes for each of the 5 answers, 2 from civics and 3 from history. That will take care of 75 minutes. So you will be there at 1 hour and 55 minutes and 5 minutes at the end for revision. Okay, so that has to be broadly your time management strategy as far as the history and civics paper is concerned. Okay, now let's talk about civics first. Now, the 10 marks are actually where you can score well. You can actually score a 10 out of 10. But you could also lose marks if you don't study the chapters well. I was telling one of the students today that the strategy to do well in civics is to go through the chapters with a tooth comb. बारीकी से with fine precision you actually go through all the chapters because उसी में से आपको प्रश्न आएंगे. Do not make the mistake of just reading the questions at the end of the chapter, because if that was the case, then everybody will do the questions at the end of every chapter and go for the exam. It does not work that way. You will definitely get questions which are not included at the end of every chapter. So please go through the chapters very, very carefully, underline the keywords, and that is what you will actually will benefit you even when you do a revision early morning tomorrow. Now, that is as far as the civics is concerned. In civics, one thing that I would really advise you, counsel you, is to be very careful, especially when you're talking about the different constitutional authorities. उसमें आप confuse मत हो जाइए. Do not get confused between different constitutional authorities. Okay. For instance, do not get confused between municipal corporation and municipal committee. Okay, you may understand, it may sound the same, but there is difference between a municipal corporation and a municipal committee. So be very careful about what means what. Civics may, that is really the challenge to understand it completely. I wish I could have done chapters on civics, but with all the focus on class 10, I couldn't do that. Next year, definitely next year, I will focus a lot on ICSE class 9, but अभी चूंकि time ज़्यादा नहीं है, so please make sure you don't make those kind of mistakes. Or between, say for instance, local self-government in rural areas and urban areas में confuse ना हो, यहाँ का point वहाँ मत लिखिएगा. So just be very careful about those kind of things. Now, how do you memorize? Now, class 9, I find the class 9 syllabus a little more daunting than the class 10 syllabus, frankly speaking. So how do you memorize the various fundamental rights, not get confused? The trick to do that is, and let me tell you a last minute tip, break it down into smaller points. आप अगर एक बड़ा सा पैराग्राफ को याद करने की, रट्टा मारने की कोशिश करेंगे तो मुश्किल होगा, आपको याद भी नहीं रहेगा. You will not be able to retain it in memory. So break it down into smaller points. आप एक पेपर पे just break it down and write only the keywords. That is going to be your best foolproof strategy to get marks. उसको break down करके keywords लिख दीजिए और keywords को याद रखिए and then construct the sentence around it in simple language. उसमें कोई problem नहीं है. अगर आपने keyword लिखा है तो बाकी का sentence can be in simple language so long as it is not inaccurate, grammatically incorrect English. उसका ध्यान रखिएगा. Okay. So don't try to mug it up. Understand it. Use short codes. या create some kind of a chart to remember different kind of articles, etc. Anyway, which works for you in order to retain it in your memory. Okay. छोटी छोटी चीजें, elect और select में फर्क क्या है? Do not get confused and do not use them as synonyms. Elect is elected by the people. Select usually is by a smaller group of people. You know, a smaller group of people select somebody. Election is usually by a larger group of people. So elect or select ko, you cannot use them for each other. They are not synonyms. So you need to be careful when you are using these kind of words, especially in the civics paper. Now let's come to history. हिस्ट्री में डू नॉट गेट द डेट्स रॉन्ग, बिकॉज अगर आप डेट्स में गलती करते हैं इट लीव्स अ वेरी पुअर इंप्रेशन ऑन द एग्जामिनर. सो बी केयरफुल व्हेन यू आर कोटिंग डेट्स, यू आर कोटिंग देम राइट. ओके, सो जितना भी डेट्स याद रखें, ठीक से याद रखें, मेक सम काइंड ऑफ अ कोरिलेशन इन ऑर्डर टू रिमेंबर द डेट्स. ओके, Unfortunately, as I said, I could do only the 4 chapters of Delhi Sultanate and Mughal period. उसको आप देख लीजिए, उससे आपको कुछ मदद मिलती हो तो please have a look at it. In Chola period, which I was supposed to do, I could not do. In Chola period, please ensure that you remember the names very very clearly because उसमें काफी mistakes हो सकती हैं. Like even spelling, Brihadeshwara temple का spelling आपको ठीक से याद रहना चाहिए. You know, those kind of things, be a little careful and this when you are doing it. The photograph related questions, इसमें काफी सारे monuments के photographs हैं, whether it's Red Fort or whether it is a Qutub Minar. So please identify the monuments because एक picture related question आपको पूछा जा सकता है. So make sure that you are able to identify the photograph and also relate it to whatever is a question that is asked. So please pay attention to all the photographs that are there in your textbook, like the stupa, Kanchi Stupa, the Qutub Minar, the Red Fort, the Taj Mahal, etc. Okay, largely associated with the Mughal history आएगा and to an extent also with the Chola Empire. For instance, the Brihadeshwara temple, जिसका कि मैंने mention किया, जिक्र किया. Then the keywords, I have already mentioned that the keywords is something which is really the key to getting you a high 70s or even an 80 on 80. Now, when you learn an answer, split it into points. Try to do a quick brainstorming of the same points after you memorize the answers. एक बार याद कर लिया, just kind of try to say, okay, मेरे को 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I remember all the points. Okay, then it becomes easy for you, and you can always work out some kind of pattern. You know, if there are 5 points and there are, you know, the first word is S, the second word is U, the third word is starting with N, the main keyword is N, then I, then L, Sunil, you know, you just remember, okay, iska code word है Sunil, and from that you remember it. You know, another thing, it could be INDIA, you know, different ways, KOHLI, Kohli, you know. What I'm trying to say is that there are different ways of trying to retain it in your memory. तो आपको एक चीज याद हो गया, तो you will be able to recall it. For instance, I'll just give you an example. For instance, in class 10 जो आप next year पढ़ेंगे, the 3 sessions of parliament कौन से होते हैं? Budget session, monsoon session, winter session. Okay, हो सकता है लोगों को विद्यार्थियों को इतने छोटी चीज याद करने में भी मुश्किल हो, तो उसके लिए सिंपल सा कोड कौन सा है? BMW तो कोई नहीं भूलेगा. Budget, monsoon, winter. All you need to remember is BMW, and then okay, and then try to expand it. So all I'm saying is work on this very simple codes for everything. You'll find it much easier. दिमाग पर जोर कम पड़ेगा. It's almost like, you know, creating a zip file, जिससे कि फोन पे आपके स्पेस कम ऑक्यूपाई होगा. Okay. Then when you're writing the answer, highlight the important names, dates and keywords with a pencil. कलर पेंसिल की भी जरूरत नहीं है. नॉर्मल ग्रे पेंसिल से उसको अंडरलाइन कर लेंगे, तो उसको एग्जामिनर विल काइंड ऑफ, ओके, ही हैज रिटन द कीवर्ड, ही हैज रिटन द की पॉइंट, उस एग्जामिनर को उनको समझ में आ जाएगा. सो दीज आर माय बेसिक टिप्स. इट्स डिफिकल्ट टू टेल यू ओके दीज आर द इंपॉर्टेंट चैप्टर्स, बिकॉज एज आई सेड हिस्ट्री सिविक्स में हर चैप्टर इंपॉर्टेंट है. इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू से कि आप इस चैप्टर को छोड़ सकते हैं. अगर आप छोड़ना चाहें तो यू आर ऑल्सो लीविंग आउट सम मार्क्स. सो डू नॉट टेक दैट रिस्क. आज की रात थोड़ा पढ़ लीजिए, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. हिस्ट्री सिविक्स हमेशा थोड़ा सा डॉन्टिंग ज्यादा लगता है. इट लुक्स अ लिटिल डॉन्टिंग, बट इफ यू आर एबल टू, लाइक ICSE क्लास 10, जब आप क्लास 10 में जाएंगे एंड इफ यू स्टिल come to study with Sudhir, you will find that most of the chapters, the way I have done is to treat history as a story. जैसे कि आपको कोई कहानी सुना रहा है, तो कहानी सुनने में तो मजा आता है. 100 साल पहले क्या हुआ, 100 साल पहले एडोल्फ हिटलर ने क्या किया, आई मीन नॉट 100 साल पहले, 80 साल पहले फर्स्ट विश्व युद्ध जो कि 100 साल पहले हुआ था, उस समय क्या हुआ था, किसने आक्रमण किया था, हु अटैक्ड, हु वाज डिफेंडिंग, यू नो, ऑल दोस काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स. सो इट्स लाइक अ स्टोरी. सो ट्रीट इट लाइक अ स्टोरी. इवन व्हेन यू आर नाउ रीडिंग इट, डोंट ट्रीट इट लाइक इन अरे कल एग्जाम है. ट्रीट इट लाइक अ स्टोरी इवन एट दिस लास्ट मिनट. मेक कोड्स, break it down into simple points, keep it simple, keep it very simple. You will love it. There is no problem at all. So all the best to you. I hope I have been of some use to you. Important questions बताना मुश्किल है, but yeah, obviously the Chola period, the Mughal period, the Delhi Sultanate, the Harappan civilization, all those are obviously important. Civics is something which you can really score well, so do focus on civics. And as I said in the beginning, do not get confused between the different constitutional terms. So all the best to you. Do well. Thank you very much for watching.